All right, what's up, tycoons? What's up, traders? Super excited for today's video. We're going to be taking a look at JASMY, okay? JASMY. We're looking at the daily chart. Going to give you guys a quick update. We're going to break down the entire history of the chart real quick, how we're going to use 3 strategies and combine those together to really give ourselves an edge in the market. Trading is like going to battle, it's like going to war, especially with cryptocurrency. And you need to have the proper weapons at your disposal and as many weapons at your disposal. And then once you have those weapons identified, you need to learn how to use them properly. So we're going to go over how to use the MACD, the relative strength index. We're going to go over the Fibonacci retracement levels, and then we're going to go over a few chart patterns that you can learn as well. Now, all I need you to do is smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll go ahead and hop straight into it. So initially here, what we're looking at is going to be a bear flag. Okay, so we have this nice flag pole right here, and then we have our nice consolidation channel. Okay, we hold this channel, and once we break below this trend line right here, we could expect a sharp move to the downside. Okay, now there's a few things that gave a nice little signal that we could be crashing here, not besides this. Okay, so the first thing besides the bear flag is going to be we rejected our major retracement levels. Okay, these are going to be the 61.8, the 38.2, and the 50% retracement levels. The reason that these 3 are very important is because these are the 3 most common and well-respected retracement levels. What a retracement is simply nothing is going to move in a straight line up and nothing is going to move in a straight line down. So what you can do is you can help identify healthy retracement levels for a trend continuation or a trend reversal. So, things will retrace and then continue going to the upside. Or if you're in a downtrend, things will come down, retrace, and then continue the move to the downside. So basically, if we would have broken through these levels, we would have gotten a possible reversal, right? If we would have came down and broke through these levels, we could have looked for a reversal. But instead, we got rejected right around our 50% retracement level here. So it looks like this. We come down, we have a healthy retrace to the upside, and then we continue that trend. Okay, so there's our first little signal right there that, hey, we're rejecting the 50% retracement level. This is a sign that most likely we're going to continue this downtrend unless we reverse through these levels and break past them. Then our second, we look here and we see that we have a bear flag forming. And we know once we break this trend line here, most likely we're going to get a sharp move to the downside. And then if we take a look at our MACD, okay, we actually get a MACD sell signal. So it's going to be when this red line crosses below the white line here. That's going to be a MACD sell signal. And we can see that we actually got the MACD sell signal right here on this specific candle. If we take a look, there's a very significant drop to the downside, over 85%. All right. So that's the way that you basically just combined 3 strategies together to give yourself an edge and be able to better understand and forecast the price action of JASMY. Now, over here, we can take a look and we see we're getting some of the same results, right? What we're doing is we're taking our swing high, right? Connecting it down to the swing low. Nothing's going to move in one direction. So we see it's been very one directional here. We make a bottom, and then we get a nice healthy retracement. And this time we come up to our 50% retracement level again, right? We tested about 3 or 4 times right here. And ultimately we continue that downtrend. So we come down, we retrace, continue the trend, head down lower, and look at what we get right here, a MACD sell signal. So right here, you see, all right, hey, we're rejecting our 50% retracement levels. Right here, we get a MACD sell signal. And again, if you take a look, it was a very significant drop to the downside, right? It dropped about 58% there off of that sell signal. Okay. And we really just kind of continue this trend and continue this pattern. If we look here again, we're rejecting our 38.2 retracement level now. So we've established a new high. We've established a new low right here. We see we come down, we retrace, get rejected at our 38.2, and then we continue that downtrend, right? Right here is where we get a MACD sell signal, and we come down, and there's another sharp drop in JASMY token. Okay. Now, one thing that we're doing is we're actually establishing a little bit of something known as bullish divergence, right? And so I haven't really gone over that. So what you need to do now is take a look at your relative strength index. Okay. That's going to be down here on the bottom. Okay. And so it really starts from about this point right here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a little circle just on the candlesticks, just so you guys can see. So right here, we kind of establish a low, right? A new low
on JASMY. And what we do is we come down and we create a lower low. So we have a low and we have a lower low right here. If we look at our relative strength index, we have a low and then a higher low at this point. So there's a divergence. The token is in a downtrend, but the relative strength index is in an uptrend. The relative strength index is going to measure the relative strength of a token at its given price. So if you see a token dropping in price, you should see the relative strength dropping as well. When that's not the case and there's a divergence, it can either be bullish or bearish. In our case right here, it's a bullish divergence. And what you see is as soon as we get that divergence and we establish this low right here, we actually get a nice little pop. All right. So, you can help use bullish divergence to spot, possible entries, right? And so we see here that we get a short little pop, all right, and we come up about not even a short little pop. Sorry, we come up about 95% there off of that bullish divergence signal. Okay. Now one thing I also want to highlight here is that we get a MACD buy signal as well right here on this candlestick. Okay, so again, I try to emphasize having multiple things aligned, right? You want to look for 2, 3, 4 signals together. That way you can have some confidence in your play and help give yourself a better edge versus just buying blindly, right? So our first signal, we're making lower lows and we're making higher lows on the relative strength index. Okay, that's right here. And then very shortly afterwards, we get our MACD buy signal. So, you don't have to time everything perfectly. If you missed this initial entry right down here, okay, and you're waiting for confirmation, now you're getting your MACD confirmation. And, you can catch some of that 96% play, right? You don't have to catch the whole 96% of the play. Now, if we look, we actually are still establishing some bullish divergence here. And I've highlighted it with this box. Okay, so if you look at this box, we are basically trading sideways on, creating equal lows, right? So we have a low here, we have an equal low here, we have an equal low here. We're really just trading range bound when it comes to lows. We're not really establishing, a low and then a lower low. If we're looking at our relative strength index, again, we have a low, we have a higher low, and we have a higher low. And we're really just holding that trend line that we established off of this initial bullish divergence. So it's a good bounce zone. And until we break this trend line, then that's when we can look for a move to the downside, right? If I extend this over just a little bit, okay, you can see that ultimately once we did break that trend line right over here, that's when we ended up getting a very sharp move to the downside. All right. So we also have a habit again of respecting these 3 retracement levels. Okay, so we're establishing our swing highs, we're making these swing lows, we're coming up to the 50% retracement level, we're coming back down, we come back up again right here, and we're a little bit above the 50%, but we're still below the 61.8, and we just continue to drop. So, if we would have broken out of these levels again, that's when we could have seen a possible reversal. But instead, that was not the case. Now, we do have a head and shoulders forming right here, which is a chart pattern that I want to go over with you all. It's established by a left shoulder right here, a head right here, and then a right shoulder right here. See, the chart pattern ends up playing out very nicely, and it takes us back into our little demand zone right here, this little box, where buyers keep stepping in and pushing the market higher, pushing the market higher, pushing the market higher, ultimately till we break through this demand zone later in time with this big bearish engulfing candlestick. Okay, now another pattern that I want to highlight is going to be known as a rising wedge. So that's going to be this pattern right here. And if you look, we get it's established by these 2 trend lines, the trend line on the top, the trend line on the bottom. Once you break through this trend line on the bottom, you can expect to see a sharp move to the downside, right? And then it's no coincidence right here, we get our MACD sell signal. Okay, again, looking at the MACD, looking to combine some of our signals together. And we get a bearish chart pattern, we get a breakdown of that chart pattern, and then we get a MACD sell signal, and it leads to a very significant drop in JASMY. Over here, notice how we're establishing or we've already established the bullish divergence trend line, and we keep bouncing off of it, right? We keep getting a nice little bounce each time we come here, we get a nice little bounce. We come here, we get a nice little bounce. Well, at this specific point, we ended up getting a MACD buy signal as well with the red line crossing above the white line here. And that was a very nice rally, right? If you take a look, from the MACD buy signal, which was going to be right here, from the lows to the highs, that was a 37% move. So, nice trades here, and we're using a couple of strategies to give ourselves an edge. Okay. If we take a look, now we see we're back in our downtrend phase, and we just keep respecting the downtrend. We have our high, we have our low down here. We come down, we retrace up to the 50% retracement level, and then continue that downtrend lower. Right here, we end up getting a MACD sell signal. Okay, so we know that, hey, we've respected the major retracement levels for the downtrend. We end up getting a MACD sell signal right here, and we can take a look, and we get a very significant drop to the downside, right? Yet again, using and combining some of our signals together, right? It dropped over 50%. It definitely dropped more than that. But, we can kind of use that as a basis. And then we're still just continuing that habit of retracing up to our 50% retracement level and then continuing the downtrend. But one thing I want to highlight here is, again, just seeing some bullish divergence and seeing some MACD buy signals, lining up with each other. So in this case, what we have is a low and a lower low. Low right here, lower low right here. We have a low on the relative strength index and a higher low right here. It's in a slight uptrend while the token is in a slight downtrend. That's an indicator you may see some bullish activity. Also, at this point in time, we end up getting a MACD buy signal. So now we have two things giving us a signal to possibly take a position. All right. And we see, it gets a nice little rally up to 58% at its highs. Once you come to these levels, you already know, because we've taken a look at the whole entire chart, that, hey, we keep rejecting the 38.2, the 50%, and the 61.8. So I need to put some form of risk management and protect my trade at these levels if I'm going long, until we are able to break out of these levels, right? That's when we get the reversal. Now we see here, we kind of just keep establishing or bouncing off of this established bullish divergence line. We get a nice little bounce right here. We get a nice little bounce right here. And you see we get a nice move to the upside. But again, we keep respecting the retracement levels and heading down lower. We get rejected at the 38.2. So now what I want you guys to do is go ahead and take a look and chart up JASMY's most recent high right around 0.0047, connect it to its most recent low, and it's going to give you these three levels right here: your 38.2, your 50%, and your 61.8% level. And if we take a look at our relative strength index, we can see that we've gone ahead and made a low, a lower low, a lower low, and a lower low, but we have a new bullish divergence trend line for us to look at. What we're doing now is just connecting it to our very beginning trend line. All right. So here's our, our first initial low. Then we go lower, right? And we're kind of holding this trend line right here. And we come over and we're bouncing off of this trend line, right? We've got two bounces off of this trend line. It's an indicator that, again, we may see some bullish activity, but what we're going to be looking for is we're going to be looking for a buy signal on the MACD. Currently, the red line is trading below the white line. If we see it curl up above and we're holding the bullish divergence trend line, then we have two entries or two signals indicating that we may have some bullish activity in the future. We have our three major levels up here to be cautious of and to be respectful of, because we know that if we come up, retrace to these levels, end up respecting these levels and get rejected, then most likely we're going to continue that downtrend. But we know that if we break through these levels, then that's when we can get a possible reversal, and we would get something like this and take us up to our previous highs and possibly even establish a new higher high, right? So we have a high and then a higher high. That's what a reversal would look like. And if we get a bounce and then a rejection at our retracement levels, we're going to come down, test the previous lows, and possibly break those lows as well. So hopefully you learned something new in this video. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. I do viewer requests every single week. So if you want to see your token in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you made it this far in the video, I think you're going to enjoy one of these next two videos.